wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Now, Jess is on maternity leave, so Lauren LaRosa is holding it down with us. And we got some special guests in the building. The new film, Deliverance, is on Netflix August 30th. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Lee Daniels and Andra Day. Welcome.
Andra, Lee. Andra, you working?
Andra.
Yeah.
Andra, I'm sorry.
Andra Day. I said Andra Day.
Andra, you working?
Andra or Andra?
I know some people do say Andra. Some
I
people
always
say
call
it, but
you
it's
by that. I know I'm
Andra.
fucked up for that.
You literally call me by my character's name.
I call you by your character's name.
But you do say Andra. You always get it right.
Right, okay.
You actually always
Andra
get it
Day.
right.
Oh, you were seriously just asking her?
Yeah, because sometimes I get
He
it.
know, he
Okay.
He has never said it. He's never said
Because I'm
Andra.
always
He
in
has
her
always said
character
Andra.
name
Got you.
when she's working.
Yeah. But I am always either Billy or Ebony.
How are y'all feeling, first and foremost? How y'all feeling?
Good. I think
Really
good. Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I feel good.
I'm always good when I'm with her.
Yeah, we're chilling.
When did y'all develop this chemistry? Because it's clearly can't be just something that's done when y'all are working. Like you must like
No, we go
being
together.
around each other.
We go together. We
Yeah,
go together hard.
I told him I was like, you stuck for life.
Right. I didn't want to
Yeah.
meet her for Billy because she hadn't acted before.
Yeah.
I really didn't, And then she didn't want to do Billy.
Because I hadn't acted before.
And then I met her.
Yeah.
Talking to the mic,
Same.
Lee. Put your lips on the mic.
Then I met her, and then I fell in love with her, and then we just sort of like it became kismet, and then you see what that chemistry is like. You always see what the chemistry is like, what it is on screen, and what she was what Billy was the love we had for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Same. It was, I didn't want to do it either because I was just, scared to act and because I had never done it before. And I do respect the craft, but I was like, well, let me just meet with him because, at the end of the day, he's a great person to meet. Like, he's a legend. And maybe he wants music for the movie, something like that, And we did. We literally just fell in love. And I also that day I love Billie Holiday. Like, that's where the day in my name comes from. And so I saw in him, he was a huge fan of Lady Sings the Blues. But he had discovered newly her story, how she was fighting against racial terror in America, singing Strange Fruit, like to the detriment of her, her life was in danger. And so he really wanted to tell that story, vindicate her legacy. And that was just like, wow, that's amazing. And then, you don't often meet people who believe in you sometimes even more than you believe in yourself. And that's how Lee has been in my life. So at this point, it went from like, okay, I don't know how to just like, I trust him and when it comes to anything. So yeah.
Lee, as a director, do you have like actors and actresses that are like a muse for you? Like sort of like when a painter finds a favorite color, a favorite hue, they use it in all their art?
Yeah. Yes. Monique is one of them. Nicole Kidman is one of them. Glenn Close now is one of them. Andra is certainly one of them. There are a group of people Taraji P. Henson. There's a group of actors that you just know that know I'm a nigga, that know that I'm not politically correct when I'm talking. And, I come from a specific generation that I don't, and that they protect me from myself.
Got you.
Does that make any sense?
Makes all the sense.
Because I'm a 65-year-old
It
man,
does.
and I don't know how to. Sometimes I don't know the rules of today.
I don't want you to. I want you to be yourself.
No,
Right?
sometimes he has
I
to
don't
know
want
the
you to know
rules
the rules.
because there's things that he could have said 20 years ago that would be fine that he can't say now. They would try to quote unquote
But he's
cancel him.
65. We know how
doesn't
our
matter.
elders get.
You know how the people get. No, we know how our people get. Like I was saying earlier, like I love watching you in interviews. You don't do a lot of them though. Is that
No,
why?
I don't.
Okay.
Because I know that this new cancel culture.
But the way
I
you
don't-
be talking,
sometimes
I'm like,
right before I push send, I got social media. I have to hire. What the hell? You got to hire a social media person now to tell you not to push. I literally have to hire a social media person because I'll say the wrong word and go, no, the fuck?
and then you don't know how to go back and edit it.
Yeah, it's really crazy. That's not how it started.
And
Speaking of
for
social
you,
media.
what the
What song was that? What song was that?
Oh no.
I was like,
Danny's
look,
phone
he
rings.
turned the whole
I turned that off.
Look,
I don't even know what it was. It could be porn.
He said it could be porn.
Charlamagne, let me tell y'all, he turned the whole phone off. He said, just turn the whole thing off.
Yeah, it could be porn. Anyway,
Now, how was Monique doing? You mentioned Monique. How is she doing?
she's great. You know what? And that made me take a look at that interview that
When she was up here and called him Leonard?
It was fantastic getting back together with her. It was part of the reason that we did the film for me was I think we're in some dark time. I'm always a step ahead of it. I think I'm a little psychic because I'm a little ahead of everything that's happening. I remember when I did Empire, it was really because I was experiencing so much homophobia from my own people. It was hard enough to get movies made as a black man when I came into Hollywood, because it was sort of pre-Spike Lee and post the black exploitation era, and but the homophobia was really real, and I dealt with it with my own people. So anyway, I did Empire, and that I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just expressing my feelings, and the same thing with this right here. This, I feel we're in dark times. I know that we're in dark times, and for me, it was about finding my higher power. And after I did the movie, there was a group of us that were summoned to Biden's. We were trying to figure out how to get him into office because black men weren't voting for him. And so it was Chris Rock and Sam Jackson.
Y'all just up there wasting y'all time.
He was
telling that man the truth that he needed to step down.
around this table, you know what I mean? No, this is before. We understood in that meeting that he needed to step down.
I was saying a year ago he needed to step down.
In that meeting?
What made you think that? Because we've been saying it for a long time, and people were saying that we were not representing and this, that, and the other, but we seen it and felt it.
A year ago, I was saying he should step down.
Yeah,
and he was giving me hell for it.
I was giving you hell for it.
I know.
Yeah.
And then you walked in that meeting and you was like, what?
No,
what did you see in that meeting?
Oh, this is the president of the United States. Whoa. But he would come back with very much like alertness. He was like, he'd be like this, and we'd say, is he there? And then he'd come up and go, I've done more for black people than any president in the United States of America, including Obama. And he started listing off the facts, and like, I think Queen Latifah was like, well, you should tell people this. You should be out in the streets telling people this, because black men need to understand this. And he said, I'm too busy trying to stop nuclear war.
Now see, I'm glad you said, go continue, I'm sorry.
He said, I'm too busy trying to stop nuclear war to go out and promote myself and what I'm doing, because I'm doing the work. And then I realized that in that moment, how serious he was, because it got real somber in there. And I said, this is the reason why I'm doing my movie, because we like this, boom, right now, going, bah. We better be able to find it. I don't care whether it's Allah, for me it's Jesus, it's Buddha, we need to find our higher power. And that was the purpose of me trying to do this film right now. I
said what I was talking about earlier this week, how there's so much casual conversation about nuclear war. And like everybody's so focused and distracted about the nonsense. Like Donald Trump and Elon Musk had a call the other day, and Donald Trump literally said on the call, we should be worried about nuclear warming because North Korea is crazy, China's crazy, Russia's crazy. All it takes is one maniac to push a button. And we focused on all the nonsense that he said instead of like, no, listen to what he said just now. And to hear that Biden said that to you, that's crazy.
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. And so, because we could be going tomorrow. And so for me, it was really about, and that was part of Monique too, part of the healing of it all. It's like, who cares I don't care what I did. I mean, I'm whatever it was that I upset you about, I upset you. I'm 65 years old. I don't want to, I want to make sure that I'm good, that this is as much, I can spread as much love and do as much healing as I can. And that was part of the whole journey of this film.
So what is Deliverance about? Break down what it's about for people that don't know.
You're good at it. You're really good at it. Yeah.
It's, okay, so, where do I start with this? It's really, well, first of all, it's a story about this single black mother. And she's dealing with, at the crux of it, there's spirit, like you said, trying to scare you to your higher power. But there's also a lot of generational trauma. So it's this idea that she's trying to be the best mother that she can be. She's trying to pour into her kids with all the tools that she's been given, which is not much. But she has been given a lot of pain. And so her mother has now moved into the house with her. So she's kind of faced with that trauma daily. But her mother is also a product of trauma. So it's definitely physically she is fighting demons, right? The kids are actually possessed. And so you have that element, that horror element in there. But she's also battling her own personal demons. And I love the metaphor that the demons that we don't deal with in ourselves, they will absolutely possess our kids and future generations and rob us of our future. It's really, one of the things I say, and we've talked about the genre a lot, because that's the question, is it thriller, is it horror, I think that for people to think that this is solely a horror movie, they would be remiss to walk away from it based on just that. There's it's a faith-based thriller. It's a family drama.
Yeah.
It is a horror movie. So there's a lot of elements, but it's based on a true story. Ultimately, it's based on the haunting of a house in Gary, Indiana, the Ammons haunting.
Latoya Ammons.
Yeah, Latoya Ammons. And but loosely based off of that. Lee really did a great job of just creating new characters in their own life. So I think there's a lot of lessons in it. There's a lot of healing in it. You know, there was a friend of mine actually who went to one of the screenings, and I actually saw her in church that following weekend. And I had asked her if she goes here. She said, no, I watched the movie, and then I showed up here on Sunday. And so I think there's a lot of healing and transformation, as he said, regardless of what your faith is. But you know, she's a budding alcoholic. You know, she's dealing with addiction. She's trying to cope in a bunch of ways. She's trying to be better than the generation that came before her, which is what we're all trying to do.
And so basically, it's about I think that, and then we think that she's abusing her kids, and so social services comes, the cops come, the principal come, take the kids away, and then they see a little kid walking upside down behind the wall. So they realize that, but they still got to take the kids because the kids are being abused in the house. And so it's she's fighting social services because they will not believe that she's not beating her kids, and the demon in the house. It's about Black women not being believed, and it's also about finding. She has to find her higher power to fight that demon that's in the house.
And I like y'all talking about horror, right? Because it's not just the demons that are the horror. Like you said, it's the generational abuse, it's the alcoholism, it's the poverty, it's the addiction. Those are all horrors.
Yes.
Precious was a horror movie to me.
Yes, absolutely.
I said that all day.
I agree.
That was an African American horror movie.
Listen.
African American horror movie.
I agree. Yes.
I mean, you ain't shit for
It
that.
was though.
You ain't shit. Some people say it was a comedy.
No, but I think to his point, if you are a daughter and you grew up in a household with a mom who is dealing with her own things and doesn't know how to mother you through that, you watch something like Precious, it make you be like, oh shoot, I remember that feeling. Like it does give that. Like you feel
definitely
it.
PTSD.
I felt like that watching this.
Yes,
like,
for sure. There's definitely PTSD.
Okay.
So how'd you not get traumatized?
I don't know that I didn't get traumatized. No. I mean, I'm a praying person. I'm a person of faith. So I think that, even going into it, there has to be like intention, right? I think if this was just sort of exploiting, Black pain, if this was exploiting kind of the demonic realm, I believe in the spirit realm, right? I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. So even initially when he first brought it to me, initially it was a yes, just because at this point I had just really, again, fallen in love with this person. I'm like, I trust him completely. I'm excited about everything he's doing. But my only hesitation was, do I want to do something that deals with that? Obviously, if you've come from any type of church background,
That's right.
people can be very, very, they have their very strong opinions about why would you,
You can't even watch horror movies.
Yeah,
my mama was a Jehovah's Witness. Don't turn to me with spirits on in my house.
Really? Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they,
Absolutely.
like you said, people feel like, they can jump on you, they can do. But I think we also have this misconception that we're never supposed to look into that world or talk about that world. But for me, the scriptures that I read, I'm like, it's all throughout it. And I think what I loved about this and what I loved about Lee's goal is that he didn't want to just kind of, marinate in that area. He wanted to show a story of overcoming, and that's what she does. And so for me, it was praying going into it. Like what I will say is that I had a hesitation just because of the subject matter. But I prayed about it, and I was reminded in prayer that it's like, if you believe what you say you believe, then that means you have authority over these things. They are under your foot. And if you're going to be a light, then you have to go into dark places. And so I really love that represented in the movie. And so I think that's probably why we prayed a lot.
I mean, I knew that's the reason why you were right for it, because you were a believer. You really believed. And there's a scene in the film, for those that have seen the film, when she's fighting the devil, where she just breaks out in tongue. And the AD, my white AD, was like, okay, so this isn't scripted. Do we cut? Do we do whatever? And she's speaking in tongue. And I'm like, this is God working. We're going to let it, until she's tired.
Oh, you really went into speaking in tongue on set like that?
Yes,
oh, wow, okay.
yes,
That was her. And so that's when I knew she was right for the role. I mean, I knew that there was only one person that could play this role, and it was an actor that really believed.
Is it true y'all had a preacher on set every day on
Yeah,
purpose?
every day.
Wow.
Yeah,
Are you kidding me?
Mhm.
We were terrified. I mean, like, I didn't know. My mother didn't want me to do this movie in the beginning. After Precious, I was offered this film, and I didn't want to do it because I felt like I was revisiting it already with a woman that was abusing her kids. But more importantly, I know how I work, and I demand the truth. I work from a place of, like, I'm an open portal.
Right.
For sure.
I'm an open portal, and I know what comes to me and what I give out. And I said, this is gonna land in my spirit. And so, and that's why I sat on it for such a long time, y'all. I didn't want to do the movie after Precious, and I just realized it's not about the darkness. It's really about finding your light and about finding a higher power. And yeah.
So what do you do to
I'm
protect
really
your
proud of
peace, Lee? Because you're with this material longer than anybody.
Yeah.
From beginning to end. Like,
My sister, I haven't talked about this yet, but my sister is in the scene, who's done all my movies with me, every one of my movies. She's in my movies. My sister was in the chemo scene with Glenn. And the following day, she was diagnosed with, this lung cancer.
no.
Sorry to hear that.
It was dark.
Wow.
You got something popped in your face. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was the
The
fire
extinguisher. She's
yeah,
putting
for
out a
sure.
fire of
Yeah.
demons, and then that's a thing that happened. My dog died. It was just, everything that
Your dog
happened.
The dog died?
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. It was everything that
Every
you
day,
think
yeah.
and that's with praying practically before every scene. Now, Netflix was like, when we first busted out in prayer, Netflix was like, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to call HR because. And I said, wait,
No.
huh? We can't pray. Well, I go, okay, so I got to make an announcement to 300 people. Those that don't want to pray,
Exactly,
step.
yes, yeah.
But please, you got to let us pray.
That's crazy.
We got to ask
Yeah.
permission to pray now.
Yeah.
This is what I
man.
said.
It's
This is why I don't do
going on?
interviews,
Because how we're-
okay?
yeah,
But you
but-
got to ask permission to pray.
It's a bit different where we come from because we're rooted in that, right?
Yeah.
But so a question for you,
That's crazy.
with Leah, how is she right now? How's she doing now?
It's not Leah.
Oh, okay.
It's my sister. Oh, you know my sister Leah?
Who doesn't know her?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's nice. She's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's my sister.
Leah Butler?
I'm from Delaware, so
Yeah.
Leah Butler?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Salute to Leah.
yeah, I'm from Delaware though. So y'all are like, we know you guys. Like you guys went to Hollywood, you did all this stuff, so
Wow.
familiar with the family.
No, my
but-
sister Girly, who I created Empire after. She
Got
plays
you.
it. She was
Okay.
the
To the mic,
drug
Lee.
dealer.
To the mic. To the mic.
My sister Girly, who I created Empire after, Cookie, the character of Cookie, she was a drug dealer and sort of turned her life around and everything. And she was, I'm really proud of her. She turned her life around and she works for me in locations. She does all that. She was just diagnosed during working for the film. It was devastating.
Wow.
Would you dive into another movie like this? Because it seems
Never,
so dark.
never again. I will never.
Because I don't do
again.
scary movies, but it just seems so dark and it's like
But
it's
have you
hard
seen
to
it?
get out of. I started watching. I don't do scary movies, so when it starts getting a little crazy, I don't. I start hearing noises at night.
I'm
I
the
start
same
thinking
way.
I
I'm
hear.
like
it's
that.
really-
I'm like that. I'm
it's
like
just the
creative.
end.
My
Look at you.
imagination
And I'm like-
is too
It's just
wild,
the
yeah.
end that's a little scary. I think that I don't think that I will do it again because it takes all, like you said, it's like all consuming. They're gone. I'm in that edit room. I'm
yeah.
still hearing noises and everything.
Right.
So and then also it's difficult to. It's a different type of a film for me to do. You know, it's a whole different experience because drama's like this, boom, 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 and I got that down. This experience is like, it's like a slow dance. You know, you got it's a whole different sort of thing that you're doing, and I just did it as an artist to just sort of grow.
Gotcha.
I love it though. I think you ended up really creating almost a subgenre of horror. Like we've been talking about this a lot, and that's why I say it's not a typical horror movie. It's very different.
No, it's
very
it's-
interesting.
What is
It's
it
like a
exactly?
new-
I don't know what it is.
It's like a soulful, dark thriller. Like
Yes.
it's like
Yeah,
it sits
that's
with
a
you.
great way.
Like I want to watch it with my mom and my grandmom because we got some stuff we need to talk about. But at the same time,
Really?
you might jump a little bit.
Right,
Yeah.
yes.
Like and one of my questions for you after seeing parts of it, I didn't watch the full thing, was when you, because we're Precious, the mom, the daughter had the issue. Now you see this here again from your life. Where does that come from, or is that just something you think is something that needs to be addressed, or is that something personal to you?
It's just, yeah, it's all everything that you see is a part of my life. Everything is part of my life. It's personal, and what I do is I live my demons out through all of my work. So everything you see on screen is a part of what it is that my life experience. The Glenn Close character, her character was written. She was black, so I tried to separate it because I really wanted to separate myself from LaToya Amon. So I made this character white because I have so many mixed race friends. What is it like to be a black girl with a white mom? What is it? We all know that we all know that white girl, white woman that only dates black men, that has black children. we've never seen her on screen before. Glenn Close plays that chick with the baby hair and the jewelry and cut off shorts and this, you know. To me, that was I'm so proud that she was able to delve into that because that's a character that we've never. Black people know her. I don't think white critics will understand the film. White critics will never understand.
Going over their head.
Oh, completely over their head. What is Glenn? What is this? She's a G for attempting to play this role.
The beef between, well, two questions. What was the beef between Monique's character and the grandma, and did that relationship in the movie reflect what you and Monique was going through at the time?
The beef between the grandma, that was real. You caught that, right? It was just that, the grandma knew that Monique was not right, and Monique didn't like the grandma, didn't care that the grandma knew. So it was that type of energy, and no, that had nothing to do with what me and Monique was going through at all. Going back to work with Monique was like being on a bike, and it was great, man. It was just great. She's phenomenal. And what I loved about this right here is that in Precious, she was the abuser. In this, she's the social worker in Gucci and jewelry, looking beautiful, going after the abuser.
Right. The conversation that you and Monique had, we saw the picture you posted when y'all were out to dinner. Y'all were reflecting. And you said just now it was like riding a bike. Like it's just something you naturally get to do after a while.
Did I post that too?
You posted that.
Riding a bike?
No, you posted the picture, and I just you're riding the bike made me think about it because you said y'all were reflecting on your friendship.
Yeah.
Like what's the moments that you guys reflect on during this that help her? Not even help her because Monique is amazing on screen, but kind of like help the working relationship in real life. Like what are y'all reflecting on? Is it remember Precious? Is it like what is that conversation like at that dinner?
At that dinner, it was just having fun. We were just eating and having fun.
Y'all already squashed your beef and problems a long time ago.
We had worked on the film and everything. At that dinner, it was just like, can you believe this is over with? This movie is over with. Here's the thing, Monique, not only did I want to make sure that she was good, but I wanted to make sure that we worked again and that she was paid well for what it was. Yeah. It was really important to me.
Right.
That
Shit, you better.
she felt.
You would not pay her Monique again.
But now
y'all can sit and laugh about it, right?
Yes. But now you're hearing more and more artists talking about, they're finally getting their value. They're finally getting their worth. What do you say to that? Because
she deserves it. Listen,
but not just Monique. I mean, a lot of black actresses and
from
actors have coming up here recently and be like, we're finally getting our just due.
But it's because of Tyler Perry.
But they're
saying it's because of Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry's paying them.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that I come from a generation and the last generation of we were just so happy to get in the door. I don't think you understand, like, they weren't doing black cinema. I was just lucky felt blessed to be able to tell stories like Monsters Ball. Are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me? Like, they laughed me out of every studio in Hollywood when I came to them with Monsters Ball. Who wants to see a fat kid at the end die by with a mixed race? What? Like, they didn't want to see that kind of stuff. So I had to go get drug money to develop this story. Y'all know my history. Y'all saw it up there with Damon Dash. I had to go into the streets to get my art done.
Right.
And I didn't care about it at all because the art was going to live. And I would do anything. I would fall on the sword for my art. Hollywood wasn't fucking with me at all. No studio. Every single solitary movie I've ever done has been independently financed. The first time I stepped into anything was with Empire, where I had to answer to the Suits studio. I was like, what? I got to answer to people? Okay. That was the first time.
Why do you think the street dudes understood you more than Hollywood at that time? Or was it one of those things they were like, they just knew you special?
Here's the thing, right? I can't really scream homophobia with black men all the way because, that was where my support came from. Financially.
Yeah, because they see you for what you are, which is a creative genius.
Creative genius, yeah.
Who can help them do greater things with their money.
Yeah.
Like, what does sexuality got to do with that?
Another question for you, and for both of y'all. When the demon reveals themselves.
Back to the demons. Back to the demon.
You made a movie about demons.
Yeah. Right? I know you can't wait till this press run over.
Right.
When the demon reveals himself to Ebony in the car, and then she gets out, she runs off. is that symbolizing like how, you know, there's things going on and then you kind of like ignore it, like you can't ignore it, or like was it not even that deep, and like why is
it wasn't even that deep. It
revealing
was
themselves?
like it was like
Reveal?
an onion onion opening. Like, this is coming. It's coming. It's coming. And again, you know, I don't look at it as a horror movie.
You are so annoying because you said it's coming, and then he's like 6, so
He's a baby with it.
he wants to.
He's like a 12-year-old schoolgirl. He just starts giggling. He
Yeah.
just don't stop.
It's coming.
His shoulders
It's
start
coming.
moving.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him.
All right. Now back to the 21, back to the grown folk table.
Broke. It is, you know, it's again, you know, it's a faith-based thriller. And I think that the minute we start looking at horror, it's not a horror, because if you coming in, Netflix even wanted this jump scare every 2 seconds. I said, that's not me. I don't know how to do it. I want to examine the human condition. So it's a slow sort of burn into hell.
It's uncomfortable.
And
Uncomfortable.
you think you're watching Precious, and then I yank the rug from under you, and you're really watching a thriller.
Why do you think it's so hard for Ebony to do right?
Poor Ebony.
I know.
A white woman called you. Can you imagine your white mother calling you Ebony?
No,
Naming
that
you
we
Ebony.
remember we talked about that. We were actually gonna put that as a line in the movie too, because it was just like, what kind of white woman named her child Ebony? Like, she was just so excited to have black kids. But I mean, listen, you know, it's a really interesting question. Why is it hard for Ebony to do right? Why is it hard for any of us to do right? Right? You know what I mean? Like, don't we all struggle with it to some degree, right? You know. So I think that, like I said, you know, I don't know, and I don't know that she always thinks that she is doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? So this is when you just spoke about that scene where the demon kind of finally manifests in the car and she's running and she's paranoid. I think again, we're dealing with a movie where, and this is often a thing in culture, right? Black women, you know, we were talking about believing black women are believed, but I thought about it the other day and I was like, honestly, they're rarely even listened to. You know what I'm saying? So I hate when people are like, oh, black women are loud and da-da-da. But also, we have had to work to take our space and to make our voice heard and to actually get people to listen to not just our struggles, but our triumphs and our support. You know, like, I always remind people there would be no I Have a Dream speech if it was not black women who actually organized and put that event together. So I think we see a similar thing in Ebony, is that she's not, I think it's hard, she's not being believed. And it's a lot of pressure, you know, it's just not, it's a lot of weight to hold. And sometimes you're going to stumble, you know what I mean? And you need help. And I think in that scene in particular, you know, for me, it was just like, she is not even sure of what she's seeing. So forget society or the social worker, DCS, her mother, you know, forget all of those people believing her. She's now kind of questioning herself. Am I actually losing my mind? Am I going crazy? That's something that's
Man, you feel that so much all the time.
Yeah,
You're like, am I crazy? Am I doing too much? Am I
exactly? And
am I too fight the power today?
See what I'm saying? You get
yeah,
it. I'm not gonna go there,
I'm
but
trying.
you
That's
get
how I
it.
was
You know,
watching
yeah.
the movie. Though I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, wow, okay, I felt that. Like,
right.
all right.
Am I? You're constantly questioning yourself, even if it don't have to do with demons. It's just like, am I going crazy? Am I doing too much? Am I insecure? Am I losing my mind? So, I think that she's a human. You know what I mean? She is definitely a human.
I'm glad we never talked about that.
Yeah, but you wrote it in there. There's a
Yeah,
lot
but,
of things.
But you're just telling me
catch
this, and I'm
it.
hearing it for the first time, which is fascinating.
Right,
You really
yeah.
understood it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's what
And I didn't do much directing in that scene.
Yeah, but
because you just sort of knew it, and
First
now
of
I
all,
understand why
I'm not
you
gonna
knew
let
it.
him do this. He always give his credit away. Yes, you did. You are always doing amazing directing and a lot of directing, and it is amazing.
Yeah, but you just did it. I remember that. There's a scene where she's outside. She's like this. You know what I mean? I'm like, why? She should be doing that, but I haven't directed her to do that.
Right. But that's the question.
It's in the writing, I think. Yeah.
Is the constant, like, am I actually crazy? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why, you know, it's like anxiety. And I think that's what leads to, like, addiction, right? We see her struggling with alcoholism. So, but she's trying. I don't think she's always not doing right. I think she genuinely thinks she is doing right. And she's a human. You know what I mean? She's really trying.
The scene that Lee was just describing, you know, you questioning yourself, that is something that black people constantly do, right? Sure. Because there's all of these things that we know are on top of us. We know that we're being oppressed, but then there's other people, society will be like, yeah, you're bugging. There's no such thing as
always like
racism. There's no such thing as sexism, homophobia. Oh, please. Like,
right, exactly.
You know?
It's always chalked up to conspiracy or, you know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to act like, and honestly, sometimes I just wonder, in order to survive and not lose your mind, you kind of almost have to sort of be on autopilot for a little bit, you know, because you're right. We do know the food is killing us, right?
That's right?
We do know politics are probably not really actually working for us, but we're required to show up and vote. Otherwise, we're not doing our civic duty. We're not, and of course those things matter. But there's an air of that where we're supposed to act like we don't know that other things are happening above us. I'll say above us, but I don't like saying that. Maybe just in the realm of where we at. So, and I think so we see that exemplified in the movie. She kind of, it's like you feel fractured, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I think she captured the depression right, and the addiction right, as a recovering addict or as an addict. She captured the truth of what it's like to wake up every day and to fight depression and to get up out of bed and not want to do drugs or to drink.
Right.
She captured that wholeheartedly with accuracy. I think even better than you did in Billie Holiday.
Yeah, it was actually, first of all, when you said that on set, I was like ready to cry. But it was harder. And it was funny because I was questioning myself. People were like, Billie Holiday will be the hardest role you ever play. I said, okay. Then I got on set. I was like, nigga, that's a lie. I was like, that's wearing me out right now. And I kind of was like, am I crazy or have I just lost it? Am I maybe not that good at this?
Us.
Yeah, she required me to deal with, like you said, when you watched it, the same way playing her, she required me to deal with things in my personal life, to talk to myself about things. And I couldn't, and for my faith to grow and to change. I don't think I could have played her if I did not almost have my own therapy, you know what I mean, surrounding it. So.
And what do you want people to get out of this movie? What do you, at the end of this, what do you want them to get out of it?
Really, that you have to find your higher power.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow isn't promised. You have to find. This is not a joke. Especially after sitting down with Biden's sleepy ass. You know what I mean?
So why y'all got mad when I told him to step down? See, this goes back to what I be saying. I'm gonna tell you another thing about this movie.
Okay.
Let me tell you another thing about this movie, Lee. Lee, let me tell you another thing about this movie. This movie shows you that
Not sleepy ass. I mean, I do like
Too
Biden.
late.
I do.
Too late.
It's out here.
You already said
That's the
sleepy ass.
headline.
Lee, this movie shows that if you don't acknowledge your demons,
Yes.
you have to acknowledge them. Once they reveal themselves, you have to acknowledge them, and that's how you deal with them. What they say, you can't heal what you don't reveal. So when these things reveal themselves to you, you have to deal with them. So that goes
let me
back
just
to
say,
Biden.
this is what you. Well, no, I'm gonna throw it back to you. The first time I heard somebody black talking about depression and something that really hit home was when you were bold enough to like sit there and say that we get depressed. That this is real.
Yeah.
And that's when I had a newfound respect for what you do, because it's like nobody. That's me like coming out of the closet. You know what I mean? That people don't.
Yeah, we don't talk about mental health.
We don't talk about it.
Yeah, exactly, for sure.
Even though we all deal with it.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
generations.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
my dad was going to therapy 2 and 3 times a week. He was on 10 to 12 different medications, and he tried to kill himself back in the day. I didn't find none of this out until 2018, after I started talking about my own issues. So imagine if he would have opened up to me when I was a child, when I was hiding in the woods because I was having bad panic attacks.
Wow.
Like,
Because it's in the closet.
How was he received in the community, like with that, right? Because your father at the time going to therapy, that's crazy. I mean, talking to like my elders and parents about therapy right now is kind of like, oh well, we don't really, you know what I'm saying? Like
I
it's
never
like
asked him that,
And you from a small town, so
Yeah.
everybody had to know.
I wonder if he even
Right.
talked to people about it.
I don't know.
They didn't talk to
Well,
you.
when I asked my mom, I said, Mom, Dad was going through all this, and my mom's exact words was, I thought he was playing crazy to get a check. Because they ended up
That
started giving him a
sounds
crazy
so
check.
black. Oh,
Yo, that sound like my
You're so
mom.
black.
Oh my
You're so
God.
wrong.
I know your mom could cook.
I love my father. I love him so much. I was talking to him about therapy the other day, and he told me, I was like, Dad, you can't hold on to everything, right? Because things fester, they sit, they da-da-da. He was like, yeah. I was like, so I want you to just think about therapy and don't think about it in terms of, it's not that you're crazy. It's just you check in with your health, right? You get your heart looked at, you get your, so why would you not get your mind looked at if that has
right.
direct
Right.
impact on your heart, on your body, all that stuff. He said, yeah, well,
I love your father.
This nigga, my dad's he from Detroit. He really like a nigga from Detroit. He was like, yeah, I've actually learned. He's like, I actually kind of do my own therapy. I've learned. I take it and I put it in this box, and then I I compartmentalize things. So I tuck it away real deep. I was like, right. I said, but all them little prisoners are going to build up at a certain point. So he told me, he was like, I just tuck it away. And I was like, Dad, that's suppression. I was like, that's the opposite of what we talking about. I was like, you got to talk about these things. So it's just different. The mentality different.
absolutely.
Another conversation I hope this movie opens up to this point we're talking about. Some people definitely need therapy, but some niggas need an exorcism. So how many niggas do you know that actually need an exorcism?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Listen, we working in the same.
I'm sure you got a list.
But I think also that because I was thinking about this as I was watching. A lot of church people will say there's too much cursing in this. There's too much, like there's too much violence in this. How can this be a faith-based anything? And then you get into the politics of the church. You know, you can get to the politics of the church and just sort of deal with that bullshit, or you can deal with spirituality and know that Jesus walked with hookers, drunks.
Yeah.
The derelicts.
I've already gotten. I've
Jesus
literally
was a
got.
G.
Somebody hit me the other day and was
Outside.
like, "Hey, you know, I mean, they asked politely, you know what I'm saying, but it was like, hey, I don't understand how you're a believer and would do a movie about demons." And I was just like, I remember, I think when I get asked those questions, it's like, okay, take a second, take a beat. You could get offended, right? You know, or you could just be like, there's not understanding here. There's a lack of understanding. Maybe it's on my part. You know what I'm saying? But I think that it's always interesting to me as a believer. I'm like, I read scripture. You know what I mean? I do devotion every morning. I read scripture. I was like, there's demons in the Bible. Like, I don't know what to tell you. There's crazy things. Like, the whole premise is not that this life is clean and perfect and not scary and not what, it's that it's all of those things. We just have somewhere to put it. And as he said, if it's a different faith, you got somewhere to put it, you know, like, so that's really, and something, a why. We have a why for how to navigate this craziness. You know what I'm saying? So the idea that we're not supposed to touch those things to me is very, very weird and not realistic, you know?
Sometimes we use the demon thing to avoid the actual issue, though, right? Like when the grandma goes to the pastor and tells her she thinks the house has evil energy, it ain't just demons, it's everything else you talked about. It's the trauma, it's the alcohol abuse, it's the addiction, but it's like we'll talk about something supernatural to avoid making better choices.
Right. And unresolved issues with her daughter, because I think if I'm clear, I don't remember, you and I talked about this, but if I'm clear, you know, Alberta may have changed. She received the Lord, you know what I mean? She has transformed her life. And that's why when Ebony says to her, like, you might have your little church friends full, but I don't think we ever hear a moment in there where Alberta goes to Ebony and says, hey, I'm really sorry for everything I did to you and allowed happen to you. It's more like, I don't want to talk about that. I've transformed now. Let me just be good to the grandkids and good to everyone else around me.
And that's the way it works.
Yeah, it's really,
That's
but
the way
it's
it
hard
works.
because sometimes you need, like you said, you just averting the issue. Sometimes you actually need to look somebody in the face and with humility say, I acknowledge what happened to you, what I did to you, and I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying?
Which was
it's
part
power
of
in
my
that.
journey with Monique.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yes.
You know.
And you did it first, right?
Yeah. I called her out of the blue. You know, I wanted her to. I was working on this. Y'all see that that other horror movie that she did?
Yes.
So this young filmmaker. I help a lot of young filmmakers.
She was so
right?
good in
Okay. So this young filmmaker called me up out of the blue and said, "Listen, I'm working on this movie, and I need your help." So I said, "Okay." So I saw the potential in the movie. It was incredible. This kid was just incredible. And I worked on the movie for free for 6 months because it was Monique. She didn't know it. 6 months I helped him edit the film because it was a little independent film. And I was like, this bitch is fucking good.
She's amazing.
She's fucking real good. That was part of me realizing she had to work. She just had to continue. People are missing out on her work as an artist. And so finally I said, listen, you don't know this, but I've been working on this movie. I've been working on this movie for like 4 or 5 months, 6 months.
She said, you sneaky bitch.
I know, she did. She did. And I said,
Daddy come in here and cuss him out because how he ain't tell me he was working on this movie.
And so that was the beginning of my healing through this kid that I was helping with his film. Yeah.
And how did you? I wanted to know. You know, I know you and Dame squashed your beef as well. How did that happen? How did that healing happen?
That happened because I was told by my all-white team at the time that I didn't owe him any money. And I knew in my heart that if I owed the drug, even though the movie didn't make money, the movie did not make money. So in theory, on paper, I didn't owe him any money. But I knew in my heart that I told him I was going to pay him his money. So it was a man-to-man thing. But I'm listening now to Hollywood because I did Empire, and I was like, okay, this is the way the white people. This is the way it's supposed to work. No, it don't work like that. And so even though we took the movie took a hit, Shadowboxer took a hit. I was, I did the right thing with him too.
And how was that conversation when you reached out?
But it did take a public humiliation for me to understand that I did the right thing. Otherwise, I would have been just skirting. I don't think so. I would have had that come to Jesus, but he He put it to Jesus a little earlier.
He brought you to the altar call.
I know y'all got to go in a few, but I want to ask you, Lee, about, because you birthed a lot of people out here, right? Jussie Smollett.
Mm-hmm.
What's that relationship like now? Because I remember a few years ago they said y'all were no longer on speaking terms.
I think we text each other. We text each other. He has a movie that's out. I think that's coming out. I haven't seen it yet. Look, it's so complicated, guys. It's so complicated. Life is so complicated.
Because of the incident, because of the hoax,
Well,
or
life
because of something
itself
else?
is complicated,
Okay.
but that whole situation was complicated, and I still don't know what to believe. Honestly, I don't know what to believe. I mean, people say he didn't do it. He did do it. God bless him on his journey. And
Is there room for him to come back? Is what I'm trying to get at. And because somebody like you, it takes other black people to keep that grace and that door open for people, other blacks that make mistakes.
I'd work with him again.
Yeah.
Word.
I'd work with him again.
Would you cast him in something? Or?
Yeah, I would cast him in something again.
Got you.
He was a son to me, He was like and he also represented me, and he also represented the movement that I tried to start, which I didn't even know I was starting. I was so busy worried about Cookie's hat and the music that we were playing. This was before Insecure. This was before Black Panther. We started that. It was it was before all of it.
That's a fact.
They didn't even know what it was.
That's a fact.
But I was so worried about like getting everything right. Is the phone right here, on the set, that I didn't know what was happening in the zeitgeist. So yeah, it's complicated.
Empire definitely ushered in the new black renaissance in cinema. But yeah, the only reason I asked that is because we see white actors make mistakes and get chance after chance after chance. It's like with our people, they just get thrown away, discarded, blackballed, never work again. But it takes people like you to make sure that they keep working.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you. And the film Deliverance is out on August 30th on Netflix. And thank you for joining us. You guys are invited. Don't wait so long. I mean, how long has it been? 7 years, probably?
It's been a while. I don't do
Next time you can
busy,
keep
man.
your phone
But
on too.
Because you didn't give me cancer. But
She
it's
said,
in
"Let me
theaters
hear
right
it.
now.
Let me hear it."
It's in theaters.
It's in
Today's the
theaters
first
today.
day it's in
Yes.
theaters.
And it's on Netflix August
30th.
30th.
August
Yeah.
30th.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for joining us, Andrew. I know
Thank
you'll
you.
be here again because you working.
Apparently,
You
I'm out
working.
here
You
slaving. I'll
working.
see y'all for Exhibiting Forgiveness, I guess, next.
That's the next role?
It was the next movie that comes
movie?
out in October, yeah.
What's it called? Exhibiting?
Exhibiting Forgiveness.
What is that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, it's actually the painter. Have you heard of Titus Kaphar? Are you familiar with his work? If you have
Brilliant.
not, if you've not seen his work, you should definitely. He's a painter, is actually what he is. His work is in the Met, everything. He's from Detroit, actually. But he, very similar. He tells truthful stories, but he has never done a movie before. He just needed, apparently painting was just not sufficing. He needed a medium to be able to reconcile his relationship with his father, who was definitely a victim of sort of the crack epidemic. And so reconciling that relationship and learning how to forgive. And so he just started writing his story down, and he wrote a script. So this is his debut. Directorial debut and his first time writing a script. It's called Exhibiting Forgiveness. It stars Andre Holland, Anjanou Ellis, John Jelks, and myself. And he really beautifully talks about that forgiveness is an amazing concept. Obviously, we've seen it today. We've talked about it so much today. But I think we forget how hard fought forgiveness can really be. It always feels like you're letting someone get away with someone, or get away with something. You're making yourself more vulnerable to more pain. But so it really dives into the idea that it strengthens you, but it is a hard fought battle. So that's October when it comes out.
Your life is hilarious. You had one dream that you thought you was just going to sing.
I know, and
you
then
thought
this
you was
man,
going to sing.
and this
That's
man
crazy.
popped the cork and was just like, okay, acting it is. I was like, okay, here we
Can
go.
I tell you something? She's one of the most phenomenal actors I've ever worked with.
That's
And I've
dope.
worked with all of them.
Oh.
Truly.
Word.
So you're not gonna make me cry here. My makeup artist will
It's the
kill
truth.
me. You not? No, I really do love him. Between him and Miss Tasha Smith, who's also in this.
Love
Tasha
Tasha
Smith.
Amazing.
Tasha Smith.
Tasha!
I love her. She's just
Tasha
like
could
a
have
hug
woke
of a
Biden up
person.
with one conversation.
Okay, she is a hug of a
Director.
person.
She's director and incredible acting coach.
Acting coach.
And a phenomenal actor.
Yeah,
She also
is.
should be a motivational speaker.
She should.
Yeah, she should.
Y'all,
Don't you
her-
think?
understand.
What? She get you together in a voice note.
She could, when she tells you, this is what cracks me up. This is how she would have got Biden together. She just looked at him. She would have been like, It's terrible. When we be in coaching sessions and she stop and she look at me, she be like, I'm like, so I finished doing a little work and I'm looking at her for a response. She look at me, she's like, sis, it's terrible, sis. I'm like, let me get my little notes together. Like,
She might be top 3 realest niggas ever.
Yeah,
All jokes aside.
I love her. My favorite. But both of them are the same. That's why I was like, I know if I'm in a coaching session, I'm not getting no bullshit. If I'm on set, I'm not getting no bullshit. When they say cut, I'm like, we got it. Like, that's a good feeling.
Well, we appreciate you for joining us again.
Thank you, sir.
Andra Day, Lee Daniels. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.